issue of the Sloth Report on the crucifix position. So the thing about the crucifix position, it's not a very common position in jiu-jitsu. You don't see it so often. And part of the reason for that is because even though it does offer a lot of control over your opponents, it doesn't really score any points in points tournaments. So you'll see stuff like back mount, mount position, side control, all those kind of positions used a lot more, partially because they score more points in jiu-jitsu tournaments, and they're more, I don't know, I'll just leave it at that. But we're going to start off with a very basic entry, and then we're going to focus on a couple videos about positional control and then submissions. So the most basic entry into the crucifix is if Joe's in the turtle position, I'm on top here, and then we slide back just a little bit. Yeah, right here. Okay, so number one, when I'm on top of the turtle, for the most part, in general, I would have my hip connected to his hip and my elbow pressing on the outside of his hip here, and then my other hand monitoring so that I can grab an arm, snag across the neck, or if we have the gi on, do collar chokes and things like that. For this, I'm going to drive my knee across the ribs, and then the most basic entry that you'll find is grabbing my own knee, using my knee to open this pocket of space up just a little bit, and then as soon as I can, switching to the wrist, stepping over, and dragging the arm across. So for here, driving my knee through this pocket of space, grab my own knee, my elbow slides to the outside of the hip, and my hand is cupping the bicep here. Knee slides out just a little bit. If he's keeping his arm tight, it's going to be hard to step right here. So this is why you have to switch from your knee to the wrist to open that space up to step. Once your heel connects to the ground, you're dragging with the heel and then triangling my legs. From here, this hand sneaks across and grabs the forearm. If I don't do anything to control this side of his body, he would sit down on his hip and start turning to face me, which has to turn into something else. So I get the knee across, I start driving, and as I'm doing this, I'm also getting my hand across here. The reason I showed it separately before is because I can't explain all these different things at the same time, but in a perfect world, you're doing all this stuff at the same time, driving this and this, here, step, here, and I'm keeping my legs pinched tight so that I can triangle my legs here. My right ankle is behind my left calf here. I'm not doing it the opposite way because from here, if I were to try to roll him over from this position, it would be hard to take him over. And then also, this gives me a little bit of base so I can push off of and keep pressure driving into him. Now from here, this is such a strong position because it keeps his arms pretty separate from each other, and it allows me to do a couple things at the same time. One, I can try to sneak across the neck and then do one-armed rear naked chokes. Two, I can double grip his forearm, or I can seatbelt grip from here, and then as I open my knees wide and drive my hips down, I can start to attack arm locks. So like if you start to resist me, yeah, give me some tension. Yeah, exactly. So when I get tension, that's the difference. So if you have a partner, when you're sparring, you'll feel this position a lot more effectively. When the person's relaxed, it's sometimes hard to feel the right angle for the arm locks and stuff that you're doing. But when you get somebody, have your partner give you a little bit of resistance, and you'll feel when they give you that tension, it becomes much easier to finish the arm locks from there. So entry number one more time. Knee comes down. As my knee comes through, my hand touches my kneecap and my other hand sneaks through to grab the forearm. I'm opening my knee, grabbing the wrist, and stepping. As soon as I do that, I close off the space, switch my legs, and triangle from here. Control, I'm keeping myself facing this way. I don't turn the other way, because if I turn this way too soon and I mess up, his head pops out, now he's on top of side control. That's a big problem with this. So when I'm doing this position, if I'm staying on top, slide back just a little bit. If I'm staying on top, my knee comes here, grab my knee, grab his forearm at the same time, open, peel the wrist, triangle the legs right away, and keep on facing in this direction so that I don't slide off to side control. The other thing is that if he does escape his arm and I'm facing this way, no big deal. I can still slide back and do the turtle the same way that I normally would. I'm not risking my position at all. So here, step, triangle the legs, and then I can either try to sneak across the neck for a one-arm choke. I don't take my other arm out for this choke because right here, this gives him a gap where he can start to drop his shoulder and his hip to the mat and turn to face me. So I would rather here, step. If I were going to go for a choke, I keep my thighs squeezing together to control the arm, and then I just do the one-arm variations where I put my head next to his head to lock his head in place, grab his shoulder, and then pull my elbow back and squeeze. My hand is the fulcrum. My elbow is the other end of the lever, like this. That's pretty much it as far as basics go from the top of the crucifix position. The next video will explore the bottom.